Brielle, say hi.
Hi.
Hey, sorry about that. Hold on 1 second.
Cool.
Do you want to mute for a second? There should be a mute button.
Yes.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining. Russ Yusupov. What a surprise. Doing a NPR interview that we're dialing in for. Hey, Joe. I thought I'd invite you guys. You're welcome to listen along. We are dialing in over the phone. They're going to patch us in. I think they're just Are they recording it? It's for tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's going to be on NPR Marketplace tomorrow. And yeah, I thought I'd just invite you guys. Nice music. Thank you, Pandemona.
Anybody there?
We're here.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thanks for being willing to chat with us.
Of course.
This is Ben Johnson. Am I talking to Kayvon?
This is kayvon. I'm here with Brielle as well, but yep, this is kayvon.
Great. Well, I think we're just about ready to go, but I understand you are recording on your end with an iPhone, correct?
Brielle might be recording. I'm actually periscoping just to let people listen and watch behind the scenes. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, of course. Periscope away.
Great. I'm sure you can watch it.
The only tricky part of that, I suppose, will be whether or not I'm on speaker.
You are on speaker right now. If the connection isn't great, we can always have Kayvon pick up the phone directly.
The only issue is that, so this is going to sound sort of weird, but for editing purposes, it's problematic for us to have a speakerphone. For me to talk to you via speakerphone, it's much better sound quality if you're actually talking into the phone instead of having me on speakerphone in the room. It makes it hard for us to edit.
Yeah, that's fine. I can definitely pick up the phone.
Yeah, if that's feasible, that would be great. I mean, I suppose it's not as exciting for Periscope viewers to watch just one side of the conversation, but hopefully it'll still be entertaining.
That's okay. We'll make it work. As soon as you guys start asking questions, I'll pick up the phone and we can go from there. Does that sound good?
Yeah, that sounds great. And just to double check that you're when you guys let me know that you're rocking there and you've started that voice memos app recording of your end of the conversation, then we'll get started.
We are recording, right, Bill?
We're recording.
Yeah, we're good to go whenever you are.
Yeah, and just whoever is holding the phone that's recording on your end, just put it as close to Kayvon's face as you can there without.
Yep, I'm holding the phone now. It's bake pour, yeah. Well, we've launched a few things. We announced a few things today. We announced the ability for broadcasters to now save their broadcast beyond 24 hours. We've launched also the ability for broadcasters to broadcast from a connected drone. And we also added a new broadcast search functionality. So the answer to the question is really, depending on those features. In terms of the supporting greater than 24 hours, we launched Periscope over a year ago with this restraint of broadcasts only staying around for 24 hours, because at the time, people really hadn't embraced the idea of live streaming. There's a lot of anxiety, I think, associated with being on stage and having people kind of watch you perform. Not many people are sort of predisposed to that medium of being live. And we've just been sort of blown away over the last year by how quickly that's changed. I mean, people are now embracing live streaming in a way that we hadn't have imagined they would that quickly. And so it felt... No, I mean, we're not actually doing anything within the Periscope platform directly to support monetization. I think the impetus was really, we had this vision of allowing you to share the important things that are happening in the world around you. And as it happens, like, a lot of things happen that are captured on Periscope that deserve to stay around for more than 24 hours. So if you're witnessing a breaking news event or a protest or a celebration, or you're documenting the Syrian refugee crisis on Periscope, a lot of people don't want that content to go away. A lot of broadcasters don't want that content to go away. So sure, they're also monetizing monetization implications down the line, but first and foremost, we want to give broadcasters the control around the content that they're creating and investing in. No, this is a move to make Periscope more like what we want Periscope to be. I think we started Periscope with the vision of letting you share the world in real time and letting you as a viewer see the world in real time. And all of these decisions, all of these features that we've added in different ways help further that mission. I mean, we talked about the 24-hour example and why that was important, but from the drone one is another one where we've seen emergent user behavior on our platform of people going above and beyond and sort of rigging up these complex setups to get their drones broadcasting through Periscope, because a lot of what they want to share, they want to share from 500 feet in the air, a couple thousand feet in the air. And we're looking for all kinds of ways to enable that type of behavior to help the Periscope community do what it's already doing, but more easily, more flexibly, and more creatively. So everything that we do in terms of how we invest our time in furthering the platform is really towards the end of making that mission more accessible for the people that are on the platform. Sure. Well, and I can, at a high level, people can create a Periscope account in two ways. One, if they have a Twitter account, they can sign up for Periscope using that Twitter identity, which is super helpful because you get your picture, your name, and all that sort of stuff. But we also let you sign up for Periscope with a phone number, so people who don't use Twitter or don't have a Twitter account, for example. But for people who are using Twitter, when they're broadcasting, we give them the option to share to Twitter. And the reason for that is because you or whatever account you're using, you've already established an identity and an audience on Twitter, and we want you, when you create your broadcast, to be able to share to that community. Now, on the flip side, on the viewership side, when you stumble into onto a broadcast from Marketplace in the Twitter timeline, and it just happens to be a live Periscope, we don't want you to necessarily to have to leave Twitter to go to the Periscope app. There may be all kinds of reasons why that would be beneficial for you or for Periscope for that to happen, but now, as of January and now, over the last few months, we've added the capability on Twitter for you to experience Periscope in all of its glory with the auto-playing video and the hearts and comments without actually leaving your Twitter timeline. Now, sure, if you want to Exactly. Your Twitter audience can stumble into and watch your Periscope broadcasts in their Twitter timeline on iOS, on Android, and on the web. And people who do already have the Periscope app can furthermore dig in and go into the Periscope app to watch and comment. But if they just want to watch with their Twitter timeline, they don't even need to tap the tweet. They just get the video from the Periscope broadcast autoplay in the timeline. So it was definitely the case when we first launched that what you're describing is true. You kind of had to leave Twitter and go to the Periscope app. But that's one of the things we spend a lot of time investing in. Is just making it really seamless so you didn't have to do that. It's a really good question. I think there are some technical reasons. There's a confluence of things that make right now a more tenable time for live streaming. Between the software and hardware capabilities of phones like the iPhone and Android devices, between the cellular kind of network connectivity and speeds that LTE and 4G and even 3G afford, those just weren't possible before. But I think there's something else too, which is really important that Periscope has thought a lot about, which is what is the experience around creating and watching a live broadcast. Live conceptually isn't anything new, right? We've sit on our couches over decades and watched a quote unquote live broadcast from our couch. But the difference between then and now is with the types of experiences that Periscope is really focusing on. It's how do you actually make live matter? For us, that means make the experience low latency enough and pleasant and charming enough that you're actually creating a feedback loop between the broadcaster and the audience. So I'm holding an iPhone right now, broadcasting to 315 people, and they're asking me all kinds of questions and sending me emojis and complimenting me and asking me questions and whatnot. And I have the ability to actually respond to those comments in real time. And viewers now in aggregate, even though there's 300 people in here, they can ask me questions that then end up affecting the experience within 3 or 4 seconds. And that feedback loop wasn't possible before. And I think that sort of magic of interactivity is what makes live now an interesting medium that is meaningful in a way that it wasn't before. Absolutely. It's a spectrum of challenge, right? On one hand, you have the professional broadcaster on TV who can cut their feed whenever they want or has a highly curated feed. And even, stepping more close to the Periscope side of the spectrum, you have Marketplace. I mean, you guys do interviews all the time. Like I'm dialing in right now, and it's highly curated for you guys in the sense that you've chosen someone to dial in. We have a conversation, you've recorded it, you can air it. And then all the way on the other side of the spectrum, you have something like Periscope, which is kind of democratized and free. One in the global community can watch my broadcast right now, but also with that certainly comes challenges and unpredictability. I think is a great word for it, because anyone's joining, anyone can comment, and that's why we as the platform have an onus to provide broadcasters a lot of tools and just have a lot of intelligence in the platform to try and surface tools that help broadcasters control that experience. Because if there's someone in there that you don't want in there, if you only want certain people to be able to chat, or if you want no one to be able to chat, those are tools that as a platform we have to provide to try and equalize that playing field, where even though there's more unpredictability, you also have the types of controls you need to control that unpredictability. Right. That's also a challenge. And I think those types of challenges are addressed, there are a variety of ways that you can address those challenges. One is policy. Like, for example, we have policies as part of our terms of service that say you cannot broadcast someone else's copyrighted work. We have all kinds of content policies around not safe for work content, like pornography, which is not allowed on Periscope. And there's a kind of a variety of means that we address that. One is having the policies in the first place. Two is having teams and processes where when those policies are violated, we can take action. And then also in the product itself, surfacing what our platform stands for, what it doesn't, even down to editorial strategy, what types of content we feature and we don't, I think is an illustration of the type of values this platform has. And so I think we just have to employ those tools together in some balance to try and curate the types of things that we want to see and what we don't want to see. Does that mean that people won't break those policies sometimes? Of course not. It's the internet. People can do a lot of things very easily, and we have to be very reactive as well as proactive. So you're absolutely right that these challenges exist, but it's certainly not rocket science. We just have to work really hard to retain that balance. It's a really good question. I think when we started Periscope, we, like any other startup, we kind of had this really cheesy, ambitious kind of desire to create something that we felt like should exist in the world, without necessarily thinking through all the implications of how to get there or what it would be like and where we would go from there. And I think that kind of like naive approach is in some ways necessary to make progress. I mean, we very much thought of it as like, we should just give this a shot, and this probably should exist. It'd be really, really cool. Like, we want to be able to teleport someplace. Like, we can't actually make like a Star Trek-like teleportation device, so let's make the closest thing we can. So I think that one of the ways it'll change, it has the capability of changing the world, is just making the world feel smaller yet bigger at the same time. That's what I've always loved about Periscope was like we literally have this map feature where you can open up the map and you can see what is happening right now on the map. I can zoom in and like see my hometown in Mill Valley, or I can go somewhere halfway around the world. And I think that superpower, giving people that superpower, is really interesting because it helps us stay more connected to our world. It helps us empathize with people. Like when else would I watch someone in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia commuting on the road? I can't do that with any other tool, and I maybe wouldn't have done that before, but Periscope lets me do that, and I think there's something really fascinating about that. So I think time will still tell what ways people will use this medium. We've obviously seen tons of really fascinating examples already, but I think that idea of building empathy with others and showing what is happening around the world now is really, really powerful. Periscope's growth has been phenomenal and has kept us up at night when we would have otherwise liked to sleep. So we announced in August that we had 10 million total users. We were seeing around 40 years worth of live broadcasts watched every day. We announced just a few weeks ago that we now have over 110 years worth of live broadcasts watched every day. And we also announced just in the last, sorry? We didn't announce any new numbers around user growth, and the reason for that is like we value the most indicative measure of our success is what we call time watched, which is the aggregate amount of time people spend watching every day. And the reason for that is because it is both inclusive of user growth and how much time those users spend watching. It doesn't do us any good to have 10 million people open a broadcast every day and then close the app in a second, right? That would be an indicative of very good user engagement, very good user growth, but very poor engagement. So time watched for us is a combination of those two things together. You can't get a significant increase in time watched without having a significant increase in users. So we want the focus of our platform, both internally and externally, to be that time watched metric. And so we've seen obviously phenomenal growth. We've also, the other measure that makes a lot of sense is how much are people actually broadcasting. So in January, we had a total of 100 million broadcasts. That's essentially like in a year's worth of time, 100 million broadcasts. Between January and March, that number became 200 million. So we doubled our broadcast number in just a few months. So by all accounts, we're really proud of how the platform has grown, and we're also proud of how people are actually using it amongst that, in that time. Thank you guys so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
And you probably know from watching some of Ty Risdall's broadcasts, Marketplace enjoys using Periscope. So thanks for your time, and this will be in the show tomorrow, I believe, Stephanie? Yep. And if you can send us the file of what you recorded there on your end as soon as possible, we will get to editing it, and take care.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you having me on the show, and I look forward to listening to it tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope you do. Absolutely. And give us a holler when you're in New York sometime. Come by the offices.
Sounds good. Thank you so much. Talk to you soon.
All right. Yep. Take care.
Bye-bye. I didn't realize they were in New York.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
What did you guys think? Sorry you couldn't listen to the questions, but you probably got a sense based on my answers what the questions were. Thank you. Lots of emojis. Oh my God, that was really great. I have an interview on Wednesday. Any good advice? Yeah, Periscope it. Euro gives 2 thumbs up. Good interview, buddy. Thanks, AJ. Great job and hair on fleek. Wow. I don't know about that. Please fix the broken notifications and invite issues. We're not aware of any notification issues. There shouldn't be. But send us a tweet and we'll definitely look into it. Oh, thanks, Dad. My dad's saying clap emoji.
So cute.
Very good job. Thank you, Remy. Remy, you're crushing it on Periscope. I enjoy watching your broadcasts. Thank you. They seem to forget Periscope won App of the Year. ONDAs are everything. More features on Apple TV. Oh, Raymond likes the Apple TV app. I like that. All right, guys. I think I have another meeting in 5 minutes. Okay. Well, I'm glad you were able to join. Office here. This is Jonah. Jonah's one of our iOS engineers. There's Peter and Tyler and Veronica and Suyash and Hiro and Pablo. There's Sarah. I know. Sarah usually sits there. Anyway, that was fun. Scotch has a work from home day. Wait a second, Lily, why don't you log into your... All right, this has been great. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.